You have two hormones that if you are not actively, and I mean on purpose, keeping them in check, you stand no chance of reaching your ultimate fat loss goals. Simply counting your macros and your calories is not going to get you all the way to your goals if these are not addressed. And they are the actual cause of thigh and tush fat in women, specifically in visceral fat accumulation, which is the dangerous fat in both men and women. And for men, cue the man boobs. So many of my new clients come to me absolutely frustrated because they are doing every single thing they've been told to do and the weight will still not come off. Some of them are just aging, and so they're gaining a little bit of weight every single year, but they haven't changed anything that they're doing. It doesn't make any sense to why they're suddenly gaining weight when they weren't before. So they're eating right, they're exercising, they're not ordering pizza every night, and they've cut out all the junk food. And a lot of them are even using intermittent fasting, which all of these things work, and they work for a minute, but until you address these hormones, it is going to come to an end. And we do have a hormone reset diet if you think you need a more structured plan. I'm gonna put that in the description. But first, let's dig into these because I also have some solutions for you. All right, I'm gonna start with estrogen because men and women need to pay very close attention to the amount of estrogen in our bodies. And we always think of this as more of a female problem because of menopause, pregnancies, and other things that go on in a woman's body that doesn't go on for men, right? But it is one of the biggest threats to men's health and their ability to lose fat. So we need estrogen. It's an important hormone, but we need it to always be balanced. And the problem comes in when it gets off kilter. And when it gets off kilter, one of the main causes of this are called xenoestrogens, and they are found in our environment, our plastics, our pesticides, herbicides, the hormones, and the additives in our food. They contain xenoestrogens. What xenoestrogens do is they stimulate estrogen. So when they get inside your body, they actually bind to your estrogen receptors. Now, estrogen is supposed to bind with testosterone. But when all of the estrogen receptors are taken up, now we have all this extra estrogen or xenoestrogens floating around our body. Our body has no idea which estrogens we have produced ourselves or which ones we've brought in from the environment. And quite frankly, we pay very little attention sometimes to the things that we bring into our bodies, our water, so we just grab a quick snack, we do this, we don't really know what is inside of it, okay? Now we have all these extra estrogens floating around, so where's it gonna go? Well, we have certain parts of our bodies that are called estrogen sensitive. And inside these estrogen sensitive body parts, we have estrogen sensitive cells. These cells attract estrogen. They are fat cells. So they grow and grow and grow, and they divide and they divide and divide. So not only do they attract estrogen and they grow and grow, they also produce more estrogen. So the more estrogen coming in from our environment causes our bodies to put on fat so that it can produce more estrogen. It is a crazy, vicious cycle. For women, it is our waist, our belly, our tush, our breasts. For men, waist, belly, and breast. This is where all of that stubborn fat sits, and it is so most likely due to too much estrogen. Estrogen literally holds on to fat, and it is the most difficult fat for you to get rid of. So let's solve this problem naturally. So I have two things for you to avoid and two things for you definitely to eat. So first, I want you to avoid processed soy isoflavones. I'd love you to avoid soy altogether, but if I can just get the processed soy isoflavones out of your diet, I would be thrilled. And so you're gonna check every single label of all the foods that you eat that are in some kind of package and look for soy isoflavones because this is a problem. What happens is when they're processed to put into those packaged foods is that it makes those xenoestrogens way more bioavailable. So your body is actually able to extract and use more of them than it can from things that aren't processed, which is very, very bad. Next, I want you to take all the plastic out of your world, and you are going to be surprised at where all the plastic is. So just go through your day because we drink out of plastic bottles, we store our food in plastic containers, and it goes on and on and on. And this is probably going to be a little bit more of a process, so just start going through your day, and when you see you're using plastic, don't panic, just think of a way that you can exchange it and kind of work those items out of your world. Now, on to the things that we should eat. So first we want to eat organic produce. Big deal, because these things have if they're not organic anyway, they have pesticides, herbicides on them to, make them grow big and pretty and look great. But they're damaging our bodies. So we need to eat organic produce. And I know that means they're a little bit more expensive. Same with the grass-fed and hormone-free proteins that we buy, the meat. And if your beef can be grass-fed and grass-finished, you are way ahead of the ball game. And again, I know this can be a little bit more expensive, but it's going to save you a lot of health problems in the future. So this is kind of a paying it forward to your body. And the final thing I want you to do is eat foods high in indoles. And you know what? They are going to, with these, along with removing the soy isoflavones, those are probably the two biggest things that you can do to have the quickest response from your body. And foods high in indoles are broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, favorite, bok choy, and carrots, also favorite. Actually, I'd have a hard time deciding which one was my favorite. But anyway, eat these foods because these foods are actually going to eliminate the estrogens from your body, which is beautiful. So if you can block more coming in, eat these foods to eliminate the ones that you have, you are going to be rocking and rolling. Now, let's talk about cortisol, which is a necessary and super beneficial hormone that, of course, we need to be healthy. And we all know it's the stress hormone. We all know that it puts fat, especially on our bellies. But truly, cortisol is beneficial and it can help us burn fat under the right conditions. Unfortunately, we just normally have way too much of it because it is a response to stress. It's not the cause of stress, but it is a response to stress. And our bodies don't know the difference if this stress is coming from like a tiger or wild animal chasing you or an email. But when our adrenals are activated by this stress, they produce cholesterol. Cholesterol turns into cortisol, and cortisol tells your body to release glucose into your bloodstream for instant energy. Now, this comes from your liver and it comes from your muscle tissue normally. Now, we have all felt this. We've had that email come in, boom, we immediately have a stress reaction to it. Before we even know it, we're out of our seats and we're walking in our space, wherever it is. I work from home, so I'll like take a couple laps around the kitchen. I'm like, oh my gosh, how did I get here? And it's because that instant stress response just boom, it just took me right out of my seat. It happens at night too. We wake up, we start thinking about all the craziness going on in our world. Before we even know it, we're pacing in the bedroom. We don't even realize that we have jumped out of bed. Now, here's the exciting part. Because all this energy is in our blood in the form of glucose, we are not using it. And so we need an insulin response to take it out of our blood, which we have to do because it's dangerous to have high insulin levels. So our body produces insulin to redistribute this glucose. Fun fact, we have 4 times more cholesterol receptors in our belly and our visceral fat. That visceral fat, that's a dangerous disease-causing fat. And we have 4 times more cortisol receptors in our belly. So guess where you are more likely to restore that energy that you took from your muscles and your liver? Yep, right in your belly. Now, to put the cherry on the top of the problems with cortisol, our thalamus has cortisol receptors. When the cortisol reaches our thalamus, it turns on our hunger signals. Also, because of the crazy stressful worlds that we live in, we pretty much have a constant stream of cortisol. So we have constant insulin and we have constant glucose with the insulin constantly trying to put it away. This is how we become insulin resistant. This is especially how we become insulin resistant and have no idea why, because we eat a very healthy diet. But this is the problem. It's not your diet. It's your lifestyle. So now we have extra hungry. So we are eating absolutely everything. We're storing everything because we are in a constant insulin response, so we can't burn anything off. And for even more fun, we're rearranging where our fat is from everywhere else on our body right to our bellies. So this is super dangerous, right to the visceral fat. That's where the diseases come from. So now we need to lower our cholesterols, but how do we do it in this crazy, stressful world that we have found ourselves in? Well, I have 3 ways to do it that are not meditating, even though I totally would love you to meditate, but I do have 3 ways that don't include it. I love these because number 1, they work, but they work quickly and they are super easy. So the first thing I want you to do when you feel that stress response is I want you to get up and move. You know you have that extra glucose, you know you have that extra energy in you, and the more you can use, the less you're going to restore. So get up and move, go for a walk, do some push-ups, do some squats by your desk. Anything that you can do to use as much of that energy as possible is always going to be to your benefit. Secondly, do not stress eat. Just do not do it. Know why you're hungry. We already talked about those extra hunger signals that are being released during a time of stress. So know why you're hungry, and do not stress eat. Stress, do anything else. Stress, run up and down the stairs. Stress, call your friends. And if you had to ask me what I would like you to do, I'd like you to stress drink water. Like, that is a fantastic idea. And the very last one is breathing in and out of your left nostril only. I know this sounds a little crazy and a little bit out there, but your left nostril is directly connected to and activates your parasympathetic nervous system. That stress response is from your sympathetic nervous system. And when the parasympathetic is activated, it shuts down the sympathetic. So it literally shuts down the stress and brings on the calm. And I love that. And you can try a few of them right now. Just close that. Deep in, hold it for a second, deep out, and you will definitely feel the difference. That to me is the fastest one and the best one. Anyway, I super hope this helps. So if you need it, I'm gonna hit that hormone reset diet in the description so you can have those meal plans. I've got 5 ways for you to lower your insulin levels right up here in the corner. And I love to answer questions, so please drop them in the comments. And I'd also love to know if you tried any of these tips that we gave you today. And thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.